get it under, ram it in, forward roll, fist pump. Yeah, it looked a bit, a bit fierce, like. Well, I was right at the start of it, really, right in its infancy. We'd only just survived, getting knocked out of the league. Gary Williams with his famous goal, 1987. And then the next summer, I came along to Tranmere. I'd done well in local leagues, scored some goals, and Johnny King had sort of seen me. He invited me to pre-season training, which was, I had 2 weeks off from the bank, and Johnny King had asked me for 2 weeks pre-season training at 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥𝗧. So it was an absolute killer of 2 weeks training for me. But nevertheless, I impressed him enough to be signed part-time. So I had a few games as a part-timer that year. And then later in the year, he said to me, really, to get the benefit of, professional football, you need to come full-time. So I gave up my job and started on the pathway with Johnny King. And, he already had like Jim Steele, Jim Harvey, Eric Nixon, the sort of backbone of a team. And I was, okay, I would come on as sub, and then with time, I got into the team. But yeah, he nurtured me along like a favourite uncle, you know what I mean? I think he always had a bit of confidence in me, he always believed in me. And that, I would try to repay that faith. Because when I came along, when he asked me how much I wanted to be paid, I was like, just pay me what I'm getting paid at the bank. So there wasn't any, I was just made up to be a professional footballer from a local team, Tranmere Rovers. And, with age and, getting a mortgage and all that, you have to, think longer term. So you do think more about the money. But initially, you just play for the love of it. And, there was lots of other lads at Tranmere who would run through brick walls for the team. And as part of his ingredients of his cake, because that's what he called it, we were all different ingredients. I was one of the lads who had to run through brick walls, and if I didn't run through brick walls, I'd be on the bench. You know what I mean? So I knew what my role was, and thankfully I had some even much more talented players alongside me, who I could help, and they helped me. So it was a great, it was a perfect cake. We didn't quite get to the Premiership. But, at our height, we made the playoffs 3 times in the run, 93, 94, 95, nearly got to Wembley in the Coca-Cola Cup. Arguably we should really have got into the Premiership, but it was still a great trip to the moon, as Johnny King would say. He always had these anecdotes. When he was saying to me, when we did talk wages, and the wage bill was like a Sunday roast, and he would like, Aldo will like the chicken breast, and Nico likes the legs, and Johnny Morrissey likes the roasties, and Pat Nevin, he likes the veg, and Chrissy, how'd you like the gravy? So I was left with the little bits and pieces, you know what I mean? So he would talk in these little scenarios, that you had to work out, and you say, yeah, and you sort of come out feeling a bit dazed, but you're like, yeah, I think I know what you meant. I thoroughly agree with how he did it all. We got local lads in. There were lads from the Wirral, and there were lads just over the water, like Warwick Rimmer did a fantastic job, because some of the young lads come over, like Jed, Kenny Hines, Tony Thomas, John McGreal. He brought them through the youth system, and he'd pulled them all together, and they were, they would come to every training session. You know what I mean? They were a bit of a handful, but he moulded them and then passed them on to Johnny King. We had a fantastic team spirit. We'd go out together, and then that was another thing. We would go out together as a team, and if you got beaten, you were going out locally. You didn't want to go out, did you? You know what I mean? So that's why it's another reason. But it it was just the way it was. We were a team, and that was like an extra 12th man to us. Just the way how close we all were together. Back then as well. I mean, I was at the club for eight years. Stevie Mungall, you know, legend of the club. I don't know how about 10, 15 years. But there seemed to be players who stayed at the club longer, like, you know, Sean Garnett, Johnny Morrissey, Ian Muir. You know, they'd all sort of stay for much longer, and the bond was there. Well, that season for me hadn't been great because I'd had an injury start of the season and had an operation. So I spent Lilleshall about 3 or 4 months at Lilleshall, and then, you know, there's some people think I might not play again because I had quite a bad knee injury. Anyway, I came back from Lilleshall, and I did well again. I was back in the team, but then you sort of get back in the team, and then you stop doing your rehab, and you think you're there, but you can't do that. You get back in the team, and then you got to play week in, week out. Anyway, so towards the end of the season, we might have had half a dozen games left, and so I've got to make something of this season. So I literally concentrated like I'd never done before and focused like I'd never done before. So when on that morning when I woke up for that game, 1st of June, I thought, this is my day. And I was just like, there was no negative thought. It was all 100% positive. And I was on the bench. I thought I might have been starting because I'd done well the previous week against Birmingham. Come on, when we were 2-0 down, and got set up a goal, and, you know, anyway, we eventually got beat 3-2. So I thought I might have been starting. Anyway, Jim Steele gets injured after 20 minutes. And I was like, right, I am ready for this. There wasn't a negative thought in my head. And things began to get a bit negative because I'd scored a goal that got disallowed. I had a diving head that hit the crossbar. And then later I got a yellow card. I was like, blimey, like, this is not going to happen for me, this. And then went into extra time. And the chance that I got, Jed Brandon was running through, and it was from our corner, and I would normally be sprinting following Jed Brandon, but I saw that Stevie Cooper was up there, and I thought, you know what, he's there, I'm going to hang back for any bits that come out. So Jed shot that Dave Felgate saved it with his foot. It came straight back to me, and it was spinning. I thought, for once in your life, Chris, you get a good touch on this. So got it under, and I just looked at the back of the ball and smashed the back of the ball and rammed it in. So I didn't even look, just looked at the back of the ball, and it flew into the bottom corner. And when it went in, it was just mayhem. And the first thing I did, I was like, I'm going to celebrate. Well, I don't know why I did. I did this forward roll. I think it was a nod to Stevie Cooper in the semi-final. He'd scored 2 against Brentford and done this massive triple, quadruple gymnastic move. And I was like, right, I'll just do my bag of one, you know, forward roll. And then I felt the relief. I felt the relief of the frustrating season that I'd had. And that I'd done it, you know what I mean? And we had done it. It was extra time, and sort of a lot of that relief came out. I did the arm punching, and I ran towards the crowd, and I was like, flipping heck, you know. And so I just thought, yeah, in a way, I just thought that day was my day. And, you know, sometimes you just wake up and you think, yeah, this is it. Yeah, so Iggy does well there, doesn't he? And he knocks it down the line. And Morrissey was playing on the left that day. See, I hang back here. Get it under, ram it in, forward roll, fist pump. Yeah, it looked a bit fierce, like. Miori says to me, why don't you smile? I was like, I don't know, I was pumped. Moggsy puts a great ball in, doesn't he? I see Jed had great mates with Jed. And he's like, oh, plumb, I've set you up for life there. You should have scored that, he reckons. Look, I had my Puma Kings on. And there's a good photo actually. It catches the referee, 𝗦𝗢𝗨𝗣𝗢𝗥𝗧, and me hitting this in, and it's all with Wembley at the background, and it was his last game. Well, I just thought, I just thought I'd hang back. Wouldn't be my natural run. My natural run would have been get into the 6-yard box, but Stevie Cooper was already there. So, rightly so, instinct or whatever, something that day told me, just sit back. Yeah. And thankfully it came out to me. Lovely, absolutely lovely. That kit, the claret and blue, everyone loves that. They've had all sorts of polls as that being probably the famous, the most infamous one. But we love the colour of this one, and also the other one, the white one's got a few little bits and pieces on it.